This morning, yesterday I actually have some bad news. I figured I would start with the bad news. Yesterday, I left for work and I came back, and the little calf had bloated to death on the grass. So, the whole thing about this whole situation is that this calf, it was actually one of the calves that I led into the back. And the thing that I'm kind of just to take a full accountability of the situation is that this calf, when I had taken him off of the grain, when I had taken him off of the grain and I had started putting him on the grass, I actually realized that when I put him on the grass, he was starting to bloat. And the night before, I actually told myself, I said, oh man, he's bloating kind of badly. Like, I should put him in the preconditioning pen and I should just leave him in there for a couple of days and get this bloat figured out. And then the very next morning, he died. So I put him out on the grass. I put all the animals out on the grass. I let the small calves in the front out back on the grass. And the little calf, one of the little calves that I put out in the back, he ended up bloating to death on the grass. And so that's the bad news for today. And the whole thing about it is to just take everything into consideration is that I actually had seen this calf bloating for several days. I had seen him bloating for about 3, 4 days. And the day before, I actually told myself, oh, I should get a handle on this situation. Like his bloat is kind of bad. And I just decided to let him out in the back. I completely forgot about it. And then it just kind of, I wouldn't say I forgot about it. It just kind of, it kind of just, I don't know, I just kind of didn't think about it again, and then I pushed them out into the back pasture. And when they were out on the back pasture, they were eating grass, and he ate himself to death on that grass. And so I came home from work yesterday, and he was bloated to death on the grass. And so that's the bad news, and I figured I would start with the bad news, and then I would get into the rest of it. So right now, I actually took a look at my field yesterday. I was taking a look at everything that I had going on yesterday, and I actually have a fourth animal out there. It's a big old Brangus heifer. I got a big old Brangus heifer that I would say is going to be about close to about 650, probably within about 2 weeks. I would say that within 2 weeks, she's going to be about 650, and some of my animals are already over 650. One of my animals are kind of right at about 650. Oh, and so two of the animals are kind of right at 650. One's just a little bit over 650, and then one's a little bit under 650. And so I figured here in about a week, maybe about a week, I would take the four of them to the sale barn, and I would go ahead and liquidate, because I believe that the four of them are going to hit about 650 together. And for those four animals, I believe that I will bring home about $5,500, $6,000. And so I owe $2,300 for grain. And so that leaves me with about $3,200, $3,700 for the month. And I've decided that I actually only want to run 7 animals in my preconditioning pen. I believe that 7 animals is going to be kind of perfect. I don't want 8 animals in the preconditioning pen. I figured I want 7. And so if I buy 7 animals, it's going to cost me about $6,500, $7,000 with the commodity markets where they are right now. And so that means I need to make about $3,300 next month for me to be able to purchase the new animals. And so I figured next month I'll be selling about 6 or 7 animals, and for those 6 or 7 animals, I will make about $10,000, $11,000, and so that means I'll effectively have a net total cash position of about $7,000 to $8,000 next month after I buy the new animals. So after I buy the new animals, I buy 7 animals. I'll probably end up selling 6 or 7, and so I'll buy 7, and then after that, after it's all said and done, I'm taking about $3,500, $3,200, $3,700, something like that, cash into the next month. I want 7 animals in the preconditioning pen, and I'll probably end the month with 7 animals and $7,000 to $8,000 net total cash as well. And also, I got a lease property, and so I'm gonna go take a look at it. I'm gonna go and see if I want to work on it. It's a 40-acre field, and I don't think the owner wants anything in terms of money. The owner just wants somebody who's going to keep the agricultural exemption in place. He said that the farmer that was running cattle on it before, the inspector came by and took a look at the farm and said that he's not going to qualify for the ag exemption at the rate that he's going. He's not going to qualify for the ag exemption, and so he wants to get another farmer on there. He wants to get a different farmer on there just to keep his ag exemption. And so, and I figure, and he said that the only thing is that he wants me to keep the property nice and looking good, and if there's any damage to the fence, I need to fix it, and that's the only thing that he wanted. So he wanted the property to be taken care of, and he wanted ag exemption. So he said I have to make sure that when the inspector comes by, and I may have to talk to the inspector, and or whatever it may be, and I'm gonna have to qualify the property for ag exemption again. And I'm like, that's no problem. That's no problem for me. I mean, whatever the state inspector wants, I'm sure I'll pass, right? I'm sure I'll pass ag exemption. I mean, I'm sure it's not that difficult, and I got a little bit of a turmeric ginger tea with me right now. I'm about to take a sip of. But yep. I got a lease property that I'm looking at. It's 40 acres, and I'm gonna go take a look at it tomorrow. I'm gonna go look at it tomorrow morning. And that lease property, it's 40 acres, and so I'm getting everything ready. If you take a look at my balance sheet, you're going to see that things are going good. I'm actually producing a net positive total of cash. I would say that by the end of by sometime about maybe the middle of next month, end of next month, I will probably have somewhere between $7,000 and $8,000 cash. I'm just going to be sitting on the cash, and I'll be bringing home 7 animals at a time. I don't. That's what I figured it's actually just going to make my. I would prefer to run 7 animals at a time. And so, I'm going to sell 6 or 7 next month again is what I would anticipate. I got some bigger animals. By the middle of next month or so, I should have enough. The animals will be hitting 650. And so, and so I figured, I may just buy the grain. I'm going to figure that out. I may just buy the grain. Because even if I buy 1 load of grain, it'll cost me about $2,000, about $2,300, $2,100. And if I feed 7 buckets a day, effectively that 7 buckets will last me. I can run my farm for 2 months on that grain. So I figured I might as well just buy it. I mean, even if I only if I feed 7 buckets a day as a supplement for the grass. And one of the things, I'm gonna finish this first, finish this idea first. The whole idea about the grain is that I might as well just buy it because I already make an excessive amount of cash. I mean, I don't really need to hold in. If you take a look at, if we just take a look at it for what it is, I mean, I still got to sell 4 animals this month. I figured I'm gonna sell 4 animals. I'm not gonna sell 3. I got a 4th animal out there, and she's a big old Brangus heifer, and she looks like she's about to hit 650. And so I'm gonna liquidate 4 animals, and if I liquidate 4 animals, I probably, I'm still gonna end the month with about $3,500 cash. And the next month, even when I buy new animals and et cetera, right? I buy new animals and I do all that, and I sell my 6 or 7 animals. I may end up the month with more than $7,000 to $8,000 cash. It might actually be $8,000, $9,000. It might be $9,000, $10,000. I don't know. But $7,000 to $8,000 is a reasonable estimate, right? If I sell my 7 calves, if I end up selling 7 calves and not 6, I may end up making $12,000, right? I'm not entirely sure exactly how much I'm gonna make. I don't really know exactly how much I may end up making $12,000, right? And when I buy the 7 animals, it might only end up costing me $6,000, right? I mean, who knows, right? It may end up only costing me, $6,000. But also, who knows, right? I mean, it's too many variables. I don't know, but I would say that $7,000 to $8,000 is a very reasonable estimate for the amount of net positive money that I'm gonna have, that this business is gonna have by next month. So I'm gonna keep my herd number steady. And I'm still gonna bring home about $7,000 to $8,000 cash. And I figured, well, I mean, if I have $7,500 and I spend 2,300 bucks, $2,500 on the grain, that still leaves me with 6 grand, right? I mean, that still leaves me with $6,000, and that $2,300 worth of grain. If I feed 7 buckets a day, it will last me 2 months. And if I even make a small positive return on that grain, even if I feed 7 buckets and my animals put on, let's say, a 1 pound a day, an extra 1 pound a day, or even an extra 0.75 pounds a day, then I might as well buy the grain, right? Because I get a tax deduction for buying the grain, and I'm theoretically making a positive return. I mean, technically, I am making a positive return. If I'm feeding 7 buckets a day and that's it, and I have 38 animals, if I have 34 animals, right? If I have 35 animals and I'm feeding 7 buckets a day, and then that's all that's all I'm using for grain, then I'm definitely making a return. I'm making a positive return, right? And so then I might as well buy it, because it's like I'll be putting $2,300 into the grain, and then I'll get 3,200 back. When after 2 months, I'll make an extra $500 a month, right? And so I might as well buy the grain. There's no reason. It's like, oh my God, I had 7,500 cash, but now I got 5,000 cash. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, I already have an excessive amount of money. I'm already generating a net positive return. It doesn't matter. And the grain is going to produce me a positive return too. So, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, the cost of the grain would not matter at that point. But, oh yeah, one thing that I'm doing right now is that I'm actually, the reason that I'm filming this video inside right now is because it's raining, but also I don't want the cattle to see me and come running up to the front, because I'm going to leave them on the grass all day today. I'm not going to give them anything to eat. They were in the back chewing on grass. And so I don't want them running up to the front and looking for me. And so I'm leaving them on the grass all day today. And when I come home from work today, I'm going to check everybody to see if anybody's bloating. And if anybody is bloating, if I have any bloating calves, I'll actually have to limit feed. I'll have to limit feed. And so that would also be another good reason to have grain. I may have to keep the cattle off of the grass for about half the day. Because if they're bloating, okay, so I figured, I'm going to go to work today, and then I'm going to come back, and by the time I come back, it'll be night. And the cattle will have been eating the grass all day. And when I come home, but yesterday I didn't see any significant bloating in any of the animals out back. I didn't see, other than the one calf that died. But that calf that died had been bloating for several days, for 3 or 4 days before they went out to the back. And so, that's the thing that kind of upsets me. But, I didn't do it with malicious intent. It just completely skipped my mind for a moment. I should have been paying more attention, and but it is what it is. I mean, and it's kind of upsetting, but it's not gonna, I can't go back in time, right? So, I mean, yeah, but the animal had been bloating for several days before, for maybe 3 or 4 days. And the night before, I actually remember thinking, oh, this animal has some significant bloat. This animal actually has some significant bloat. I should put the animal back in the preconditioned pen. I remember actually, I thought that. Word for word, that was legitimately what I thought. And then I just pushed the animal out into the back pasture. And then the next day, the animal was eating grass and ate himself to death. So, and also, and I don't know if, but yesterday I gave him 2 bags of grain as well back there. I gave him 2 bags of grain, and so, I don't know if the combination of the grain and eating too much grass which was probably what it was. He probably ate too much grain and then just ate too much grass on top of that, and then he bloated to death. And so that's also one thing that I'm checking today, but I only gave him 100 pounds of grain yesterday. Normally I was anticipating that I'd be feeding 150 pounds, but I only fed 100 pounds yesterday, and I had an animal bloat to death eating grass. And so that's also one thing that I want to check. That's why I'm also not feeding grain today, is because I want to see if the animals are going to bloat just eating straight grass. Because if they are going to bloat eating straight grass, if I come home and I see 1 or 2 animals with bloat, I'm actually going to have to pull the animals off of grass for a couple times, or for at least half of the day. I may just have to put them on the grass for about 2 hours a day until the grass grows more. And when the grass grows more, the feed values of the grass will fall, and then the animals will be able to consume the grass more safely. And so I'll have to check to make sure that the animals are not bloating. That's also why I didn't give them grain this morning, and I don't want them running up to the front and asking me for grain. So I just left them out on the grass, and when I come home from work today, I'm going to check to see if the animals are bloating just on the grass. And if they are bloating on the grass, I'm going to have to close the animals off from the grass. I'm going to have to take them off the grass for a couple hours, or for at least half the day. And I'll probably have to give them some kind of a total mixed ration. And so that would also be a very good reason for me to have grain. Right? If I have the grain, that'd be very good, because if I have to take the animals off the grass and feed them a total mixed ration, so that until the grass grows a bit more for a couple of weeks, and when the grass grows, it will continue to develop, and as the grass grows and continues to develop, the feed values of the grass will fall, and it will be safer for the animals to eat. And then when that happens, I can let the animals out on the grass all the time. And so that's what I got going on right now with the cattle. I'm checking to see if they're gonna bloat. If I come home later tonight and they're bloating on the grass, then I'm gonna keep them off the grass. I would actually say that I'm probably gonna, by about next week, I will probably end up liquidating about 4 animals. I will end up liquidating 4 animals by next week, and it's actually supposed to drop to about 26 this week, but I'll have to see. It was saying 28, and then it went up to 31, and then now it's saying 26, and so I don't know. As long as it doesn't drop below 28. The grass, but I don't know if the grass is even going to die. I'll have to see. The grass has plenty of moisture, and it's healthy, and so I know. But if the grass does die, I'll have to put the animals on a total mixed ration. But if the grass does die, it doesn't really bother me, because if the grass dies and it has to grow back, then the grass will have to restart its vegetative state all over again, and so the grass will take longer to develop. And so that will just give me later into the season. I can feed the grass later into the season. And so I'm not really worried about that. If the grass dies, then I'll just, but I'll probably be selling animals next week, maybe next week. And then I'll just take the money and buy myself some grain, and I'll be good to go, right? And so it doesn't matter to me. I can put the animals on a total mixed ration, if anything. And I was taking a look at the hay market, my local hay market, and people are dumping their hay. If anybody was holding on to hay at the end of the year last year, the last cutting of last year's hay, hoping that maybe the winter was bad, and people were going to be buying hay, they were holding on to it to see if maybe hay prices went up in the winter, because hay prices were so low in the season last year. But hay prices have tanked again. People are selling hay for like $35 a bale. People are legitimately selling hay for like $35, $50 a bale. And it's February, so people are dumping their hay from last year. If I need to, I can just get I can order 10 bales of hay for like $500 delivered. All right, I can order like 10 bales of hay for $500 delivered, and I got distiller grains, and I got corn, so I can just put the animals on hay, distiller grains, and corn for about 2 weeks until the grass comes back, and then I'm good to go. Right, I've already fertilized the field. And there was just like an optimal amount of rain for the fertilizer. So the fertilizer is going to be doing very good. So, it don't matter, right? When I take a look at my financials, I have I make a lot of money. I don't know how, and also I wanted to just say, that this 6,500, 7,000. So this is the 7 animals that I buy. And the 7 animals that I buy will cost me about $6,500, $7,000. Remember that I'm not using any leverage at all, right? I'm not using any leverage at all. This money is also mine. If I legitimately want this money back, I can just liquidate the asset, right? I can just take the money out of it. It doesn't matter. It's also, all of that is also my money, right? So, I would say that by the end of next month, well, and this is also what I mean by it is very difficult for me to exactly gauge how much money I make. I don't know how much money I make. I don't. I would say that if I, and I've said this, repeatedly in the past, but just if I just continue to run my business as it is, if I just continue to run my business, even after I reinvest in everything and I dump my money into assets and everything, I probably, I would say that I actually probably make, and I've already said this, but I generate about $5,000 to $7,000 a month of excess income that I can't do anything with. Even if I attempted to, I couldn't do that, right? I mean, and it's just I generate an excess of money, and that's just money, right? Like, if we actually take a look at this, I mean, these 7 animals, the $6,500, $7,000 that's in the animals, this money, it's also mine. So I don't know how much money I make. I mean, imagine that I make $7,000 cash, and I brought home $7,000 worth of animals, and I didn't use any leverage. So I mean, technically, I made 14 grand, right? I mean, I made 14 grand, and also you have to remember that and then whatever, subtract the 3,200, so I made what, 11,000, right? I made 11,000. And then also remember that I didn't sell all my animals. I sold 7. I sold 10 out of my 38 to 37. Well, I have 37 now. I sold 10 out of my 37. Right? I still have 27 animals left, and those animals also have a net positive equity evaluation. They're also they're also gaining value. That's also my money. It's an unrealized gain, but that's my money. Right? I mean, that's technically my money too. When I take a look at it for what it is, I probably make somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 a month. It might even be between $20,000 and $25,000. I don't know. That's how much money I make. Somewhere between $15,000 and $25,000, and that's how much money I make when I don't use any leverage at all. When I utilize leverage, I make more money. Maybe about 50% more money. Right? So, I don't know how much money I make, but this is a very realistic look at it. By the end of the month, I'm going to sell 4 more animals. I'll probably make about $5,500, $6,000. I owe $2,300 for the grain. That leaves me with about, let's just say, somewhere between $3,200 and $3,700. I buy 7 animals entirely with my own money. Entirely my own money. I buy 7 animals. I don't use any leverage. Those 7 animals cost me between $6,500 and $7,000. So that just means I need to make $3,300 next month for me to buy 7 animals. And oh yeah, this is why I put it down like that, because I only need to make $3,300 to buy the 7 animals. And so if I take a look at my animals and I say, oh well, it's the beginning of the month and I want to go and now it's time for me to go and buy new animals, and but a few of my animals, I don't really think that I'm gonna have that many animals at 650, and but if I sell these 3 animals, I will make whatever, I'll make whatever, 4,500 or 4,000 or whatever, right? But I only need to make $3,300 more to buy 7 animals. That's why I put that down there. I only need to make $3,300 more to buy 7 animals. And so depending on it's like, oh, well, I should wait a couple more weeks on a majority of these animals. But I may end up in a situation where next month, at the beginning of the month, I only end up liquidating 3 animals and I end up buying 7. I may only end up liquidating 2 animals and I end up buying 7. Right, because I'm taking money into the next month. I have about $3,200, $3,700 is what I would anticipate. That's my cash, that's my cash reservoir. I'm taking that money into the next month. And so I only need to make $3,300 to buy 7 animals. And if I take a look at that and I say, well, I only have, I only have 2 animals right now that I would say are $650, or I only have 3 animals right now that are $650. Then I'll whatever. If I sell these 2 animals, I can make $3,300. Then I may end up in a situation where at the beginning of next month, I only liquidate 2 animals, but I buy 7. And then let's say by the end of the month, I say, oh, now my animals are $650. Now I want to liquidate these animals, right? And then I can go and make the cash then. So, this is just a very simplified way of looking at it. I've already said that right now in terms of the business plan. I was talking about this yesterday. But in terms of the business plan, the big idea is to liquidate at 650, right? That's the big idea. I'm not going to think about liquidating a certain amount of animals every month. I'm not going to liquidate a certain number of animals every month. I'm going to liquidate the animals at 650. And so if I go into the next month with, $3,700, I only need to make $3,300 to buy 7 more animals. And so at the beginning of next month, I may be in a situation where I only sell 2 animals and then I buy 7. All right, I may be in a situation where that happens, and then by the end of the month, who knows? Maybe I need to sell 5, right? And if I sell 5, maybe that's when I make my 7-8 grand, right? But whatever it is, I would anticipate that I end up liquidating all of my animals probably within the next 4 months. All of the ones the older ones, right? The ones what I call the safe herd, right? The herd, what did I call it? The stabilized herd, right? Think about it like two separate herds. All of the animals in the stabilized herd will probably have to go to market within the next 3 or 4 months. I would reasonably anticipate that they're all going to market within the next 3 or 4 months, and they're all going to go to market at about 650. And so I would say that by the end of next month, I'm going to end the next month with about $7,000 to $8,000 cash. I'm also going to have 7 animals that are entirely my money. And let's say 6 of them survive, right? Let's say 6 of them survive. And then, over the next month, the 6 of them go up in value, right? I increase their value, et cetera, et cetera. So, I'm going to liquidate at 650. I'm going to hold on to and I actually got myself a lease. And so, the lease is going to be good because, the whole thing about my situation is that I'm just going to make my balance sheet look very good. I've been calling around and talking to the different people, to these people that have these big properties for sale. And the 2 of them that I spoke to, they've effectively both said the same thing, right? If you finance half of it, we'll seller finance the other half. That's what they told me. And so I only need a loan for about $1.5 million, $2 million. And so my big idea is that I'm effectively going to make my balance sheet look very good. I'm gonna be holding on to cash. I'm gonna get rid of all of the leverage on my herd. I think it's not gonna take me very long. I mean, it's not gonna take me very long. Maybe 4 or 5 months to get rid of all the leverage on my herd. And I take a look at it and then I also have to, but I would say that within 3 or 4 months, I'll be taking a look at a deal because doing the deal is going to take at least a couple months too. It's going to take at least 2 months to get everything squared away. So, I don't want to be sitting there waiting for everything to finish to get things started. And so, realistically, I'm looking to, get everything done by the end of the year, so that I can re-leverage everything that I have to get my tax benefits for the year, right? That's the big idea, right? I'm looking to get everything done by the end of the year. That's the big idea, so that I can get everything re-leveraged and everything, and I can get my tax benefits for the year. All right, I can leverage my assets 1 for 1. I can I can take a look at my balance sheet and take as much leverage as I need to purchase as many cattle as I can. And having that lease is going to help a lot too. Well, I mean, it's not going to help a lot. It's going to be kind of. I'm going to go and take a look at it. I'm going to go and take a look at it, and because a 40-acre lease is cool. I mean, that's cool, but and I'm not going to really have to pay anything for it. I just got to keep keep the ag exempt on it, and I got to keep the property maintained, but. Realistically, let's just be honest. I'm looking to buy about 350 acres, right? The 350 acres is going to do a lot more for me than a 40-acre field. But, that 40-acre field, it could be a good opportunity for me too. As of right now, it's just kind of a, it's kind of a good, it's good, right? It's good. It'll be good, right? I'm gonna take a look at it. I'm gonna go take a look at it and see what's going on. And then, but that's the big idea for right now, right? I'm gonna effectively get rid of all of the leverage on my herd. I'm gonna have a stabilized herd. I'm gonna be holding on to I may not even end up holding on to a cash position. I mean, well, that I may just end up buying more cattle and then putting them on the lease, right? I might just put them on the lease property, and but I am gonna get rid of all the leverage on my herd. I'm gonna get rid of all the leverage on my herd. I'm gonna have a pristine balance sheet. I'm not gonna owe the banks any money. I'm gonna have my herd, and then I'm not gonna have any. I'm not gonna have any leverage, and then I'm effectively gonna show it to the banker, and then I'm gonna present my deal to the banker. Right? Give me a loan for half, and if you give me a loan for half, I can get the other half on a seller finance. Right? And whatever the banker tells me, I can go and do it. Even okay. And here's the thing about the whole thing, and the whole thing about this situation is that, like, let's say I go to the bank and the banker tells me, well, your income is too low, right? Your income is too low, and I can just ask the banker how much. And here is realistically how I see it. If they tell me my income is too low, to me that doesn't matter. I could just ask them, what does my income need to be? Just tell me, and in all honesty, right? Because this is a method of making money that I call printing my own money, right? At the end of the day, I mean, granted that it's not like you need to make $10 million a year. I mean, if they tell me, oh, you need to make $20,000 a month, I can just go and make $20,000 a month. $20,000 a month is a negligible amount of money, right? I make $20,000 a month on a 10.5 acre field. My money is just being held into my assets, right? I mean, I only have, maybe, a third to a half of my money, and normally I don't even have this much money in cash, but I'm only doing it so I can show it to the banker, right? I mean, and I have zero leverage on my herd. My herd is a commodity. I mean, the cattle are a commodity. They're all worth money. I mean, and so whatever they tell me, I can just do it, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. And then when I do it, they give me my loan, right? Oh, well, you need to have an income of whatever, right? $15,000 a month, and then we'll give you a loan for $1.5 million. Then I'll do it. All right, $15,000 a month. I can bring home $15,000 a month cash, no problem. I mean, it's not going to be any issue for me, right? I'll just whatever, right? It doesn't matter to me, and so it doesn't matter to me, all right? And I would and so, but that's how I'm gonna do it, right? I'm effectively just gonna go. I'm gonna get my balance sheet pristine. I'm gonna keep my balance sheet looking very good. I'm going to go and present it to the banker, right? Slap the banker in the face with money. They're going to, whatever. They'll either give me the loan or they won't. And if they don't give me the loan, then I'm going to ask them, what do you need for me to get the loan? And then they'll tell me, and then I'll just go and do it, and then I'll get my loan. It doesn't matter to me. All right? It doesn't matter to me. Even when I just take a look at my financials right now, I am 100% in the net positive. I don't even know how much money I make. If you take a look at it on a piece of paper, I mean, maybe I make $14,000 a month. $14,000 a month, and that's just, but I mean, realistically, my animals, I mean, the thing about this whole situation is that that I still have animals, right? I didn't liquidate them all immediately. I mean, I still have animals. They still have a positive net equity valuation. If I need to increase the amount of money that I make, then I'll just run more cattle. It doesn't matter to me. I have a massive amount of positive equity in the herd. My herd will have zero leverage within 4 or 5 months. My herd will have zero leverage. I will be sitting on cash. I will have animals. Right, if they've, oh, well, you need to go and whatever, you need to go and even if I don't use leverage, I could just liquidate every single month. I will be liquidating a portion of my herd anyway, and I can just increase the size of my herd that way. And even if I do that, I will still have net excess cash. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, whatever it is, I can more than do it, and it won't take me very long. Oh, you need to increase your income by $5,000 a month. No problem. Give me 2 weeks. I'll go and get $5,000 tomorrow. If you're concerned about some worthless amount of, oh my God, $5,000 a month. Oh my God, you need to make $5,000 a month more. You need to make $10,000 a month more. Some worthless amount of money. I can go and make $5,000 tomorrow. It doesn't matter to me. All right, it doesn't matter. What are you going to do with $5,000? It's not, $5,000 is a worthless amount of money. All right, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to go and present my deal to the banker. They're gonna give me my they're gonna tell me whatever, and then maybe they'll give me the loan right off the bat. I don't know. Maybe they won't. And if they don't, they'll tell me what needs to happen, and then I'm gonna go at that point and just make it happen. All right, I can do that, no problem. And I also potentially have a lease. I potentially have a 40-acre lease that I can just go and run some cattle on. Maybe I'll run maybe I'll just run a 30, 40 head on that lease as well. And I'll have to go and take a look at it. If there's no shade, then that's going to be a little difficult. If there's no water, that's going to be a little bit difficult. I'll have to go and take a look at it, see if it's even worth the investment of my time. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Me, sooner than later, I will buy myself a 300-something acre field. All right, and then and then it won't matter. Okay, I'll probably end up buying. It'll probably be 325, 350 acres. And then after that, I'm going to run my cattle on my own field, so it doesn't even matter. All right, it doesn't even matter. I'll just have my own field. It won't matter. But this is realistically what my balance sheet is going to look like for the next month. By the end of next month, by the end of this month, I'll probably have a net positive cash position of about $3,700. Beginning of next month, I'll only have to make $3,300 to buy the 7 animals. And by the end of next month, I would anticipate that I end the month with about $7,000 to $8,000 cash and 7 animals. And so, that's effectively what I'm looking at. And I would say that the entirety of my stabilized herd will be liquidated within 3 or 4 months. Within about 3 to 4 months, all 30. I believe I have 28 animals, 30 animals or something like that back there. But all of the animals in the stabilized herd. Not all of them. I just let some of them. I would say that probably I would be liquidating probably close to about 23 animals within the next 3 months, 4 months. I'll be liquidating about 23 animals within the next 3 or 4 months. So somewhere around 6 to 7 animals a month, right? Something like that, 6 to 7 animals a month, and so that's what I got going on. And so, I believe that by the end of next month, I'll end the month with about $7,000 to $8,000 cash. By the end of this month, I'll probably have about $3,700 cash. I got a lease, and I would say that within 4 or 5 months, I legitimately have zero leverage on my herd. And then I'm going to go and present my deal to the bank. And they're going to tell me whatever. And, at that point, I'll just figure it out. And, I can also utilize this lease if needed. I'm going to go take a look at the lease property tomorrow. And so that's it for me today, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.